Exchanges have never faced more challenges and opportunities than they do today. John Lothian News sat down at the 2014 FIA Boca Conference with 6 exchange CEOs to talk about their views on 4 main topics: competition, regulation, growth, and technology. Here's what Phupinder Gill, CEO of CME Group, had to say about each.
The competitive landscape as it stands now, it's going to be largely dictated by where the regulatory landscape takes us. As exchanges with a global footprint start to think about how the world might evolve, necessarily have to take into account a few things. What the impact of Dodd-Frank is, the finalization of the CEF rules, how MIFID and EMIR work themselves out, the implications for infrastructure providers such as ourselves, and then the so-called emerging opportunities that are in Asia. Each one of these things taken individually have certain implications for the domestic exchanges, but taken collectively for a global exchange such as ourselves may have a meaningful impact on our clients who operate on a global basis. The trick for us is to make the experience for our client base as seamless as we possibly can. The technology of exchanges was a significant competitive advantage that 1 or 2 exchanges may have had over the others about 10 years ago. That situation has evolved tremendously over the last 10 years. I would say the basic core technology of exchanges is generic. It's been commoditized. Speed is not an issue anymore. In fact, they're looking at the other side of speed with the HFT type issues that are emerging now. But I think where technology has expanded is within the construct of the asset classes that are being traded. The trick for us as exchanges is looking at things from the lens of the client. With these complications that are being imposed on the marketplace, how has the client experience changed, and how can we enhance that client experience? At CME Group, we are highly focused on making sure the client experience is not worse, and even in spite of the laws and the new regulatory requirements that have been imposed on our client base. When it comes to exchange growth and innovation, you have to think about it in at least one of several dimensions. On the one hand, CME Group has spent 100 over years building up the benchmarks that we have in each of the asset classes. Building upon those benchmarks with complementary services and products has been a major priority for us. That priority has led to, for example, on the rate side, upward of 300,000 contracts per day, simply from the innovation of the last 3 or 4 years. Another dimension is the continued innovation. The lifeblood of the CME Group is innovation. Without it, we don't exist. Without it, we are stuck where many other exchanges are stuck, trying to steal market share. So the need to innovate has not changed for us. Deliverable swap futures is one such innovation. As a result of swap clearing, we realized from a customer perspective, some customers' needs were not being met. Meeting those needs with deliverable swap futures, which are simpler to execute, simpler to margin, simpler to understand, becomes an important point for us. And then the third dimension here, and it's an important dimension, particularly since the world is becoming more global in nature, is what are the emerging trends on a practically overnight basis. For example, Japan went from one of the large consumers of natural gas to the largest consumer of natural gas. Building an ecosystem around that may become important. So Asia as a central consumption point will become more and more important over time, whether China opens up or not. The Japan, Korea, Taiwan corridor for gas is an important place. That marketplace may not be, their needs may not be met. Korea and Taiwan recently rolled out that marker. Developing products around that marker may become important. It helps with respect to price discovery. It helps to control escalating prices for commodity. So the need to innovate has been expanded both for the emerging trends that we see, as well as the emerging global client base. And their needs are not necessarily the same. And so as CME transforms itself more and more to grow outside of the US with the large sales force we have both in Europe as well as in Asia, what we're also seeing are emerging client needs, and that's led to some product development efforts that are underway now, not just in North America, but also Latin America, Europe, as well as in Asia.